Hello, hello. Welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler,
And I'm Justin.
and this is a podcast where we like to talk about new movies. This week's theme being Oscar snubs. We're recording this 2 days after the 2026 Oscars, representing movies from 2025 just concluded. I thought it'd be a rightly time for us to talk about Oscar snubs, also in like the frame of the conversation of the Oscars this past or a couple days ago, but also for just overall Oscar snubs of all time. But first, we're going to start off how we usually do and just talk about some movies that we've been watching lately. Justin, you want to start?
Yeah, I really dove into this week and just watched every Oscar movie that was nominated for Best Picture mainly this year. So Frankenstein, Train Dreams, Blue Moon, Hamnet, Song Sung Blue, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value. I just went in and watched all of them, which I'm sure we'll talk about more later. But that's mainly all I was doing all week, getting ready for the Oscars.
Without giving anything too away, because right after this, we're going to like collab rank the Best Picture nominees. Like, what anything that you want to point out about any of the movies, or?
Yeah, Hamnet was my favorite by far. I had already seen F1. I had already seen Sinners. I'd already seen One Battle and Marty Supreme. I know those were like the top three candidates, I think, for most people. But Hamnet was actually probably my favorite movie of the year if I had to pick one, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw it all the way back in, I think January is when I saw it. I like told you, like, I was like, dude, this movie will wreck you. I remember seeing this in theaters on a random Thursday because I was like, oh, dude, it's available. Let me like go see it in the theaters. It's Rightful Justice. And I was locked in. And I think everyone in that theater was just bawling their eyes out, like for two different scenes, like from the middle scene and the end scene. Like people just could not hold it together. And I was one of them.
Which, to be able to do that in a movie, like, yeah, pretty much smack dab in the middle, and then the ending as well. It just shows like how well you've built up the characters, how great acting there is. Yeah.
And also, like, you're crying for two different reasons for both parts. Like, the middle, you're crying out of, like, sadness, and the ending, you're, like, crying out of, like, wow, this is just, like, so beautiful, and, like, how this is coming together, and, like, how one of the greatest pieces of literature ever, like, is all focused around this reason, which is just insane. But yeah, awesome. I also was watching all the Best Picture nominees. I already watched a bunch of them before, but specifically Secret Agent and Frankenstein. I'll let know what I feel about it when we do the ranking, but I'll call out two different movies that I just decided to start watching, which is from the director S. Craig Zahler. He did Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99. Very gritty movies that are just like right in your face, and they don't give a crap about gore. I don't really care about gore. Gory stuff doesn't really bother me at all, but I will say both these movies, I had to look away, and I was Grimstone. I was like, oh. And like, I have watched all the Saw movies, and I think these are even more gory than those in a way of like just actual realism gore compared to like a horror like one. Specifically Brawl in Cell Block 99, I really liked it. Vince Vaughn is the main character, and seeing him do a role that isn't a normal comedy, but rather be this like really intimidating guy that like really just found himself down a bad path, but is trying to find his way back for his pregnant like wife. And it just really surprised me that he had that kind of performance in him. But really want to call out Brawl in Cell Block 99. Really like that movie.
Yeah, you don't really see him in any other roles besides like pretty cheesy, corny comedies. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I highly recommend anyone. You got to be prepared. Like, it's just straight up, like, some of it's just brutal. Brutal action pieces. Cool. So yeah, our first exercise is going to be ranking the top 10, or like ranking 1 through 10, the Best Picture nominees, being 10 of the movies throughout this. So the way that this is going to work, we're going to do it in a collab way. So like Team A and Team B, with Team A having picks 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 10. So having 6 picks, while B having the other ones, kind of to make up for it, because if you pick number 2, number 1's already decided for you. So having an extra pick for that other team, and then each team having just one veto. But cool. So I'll do the random wheel generator and Justin. So do you want the team with more picks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Honestly, not even to like go for number 1. I just want number 10.
Yeah. Awesome. So all the nominees, I'll just list out real quick. Being Sinners, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Bow After Another, F1, Train Dreams, Sentimental Value, Secret Agent, and Frankenstein. And Begonia. Sorry. And Begonia.
Yep. So awesome. Number 10, I'm going to start out with sentimental value, and that's going to piss a lot of people off, but I got nothing from this movie. It was really boring. I could barely stay awake, and I watched this at 10 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed on time that night before, too. It's not even like I was tired. I just could not get anything from this movie, and maybe it just wasn't made for me, but that's my number 10.
Yeah, this definitely gives off like a vibe of a very artsy kind of movie. I mean, it's focused around these different actors. With his dad, that's a director that wrote a screenplay that he wants his daughter to be in, really about his family home building up. But again, that's a very like art focused like way of telling a story that I feel like it. I I rated this personally a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So I enjoyed this movie, but for me, I really enjoyed a lot of these movies to first start off with this. But the performances is why I ranked it so high, because I think all the 4 performances that were like that went up for Oscars, being Renee Renee, Stellan Skarsgård, Inga Bader Lilius, and Elle Fanning, like all of them, I thought were just insane performances, and like that really took over the movie for me. But the story for itself, I think the middle of it just like really didn't gravitate towards me. I don't know. It just didn't.
It dragged.
Yeah, it didn't.
The middle.
Yeah. I saw this the day after seeing Hamnet, and it just didn't affect me emotionally as much as because all the emotion was drained out of me the day before. So like I didn't really have much to give that day. But I also just didn't think that there was much to get out of it. So I'm fine with keeping this at 10 because
might have had a similar thing. I watched The Secret Agent the night before, and so maybe I turned sentimental value on, not expecting subtitles, and I was just immediately like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because not that it's a bad movie, but even The Secret Agent had me engaged the whole time. Even with subtitles, I could follow and keep up with it. I couldn't with this.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty engaged in it, I would say. It just, again, the performances are what shines out in this movie for me a lot. I know a lot of the podcasts that I listen to has rated this like they're 1 or 2, but I think that's a more art focused kind of movie in my opinion.
Yeah. So number 9, I'm going to go, I get 9, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I get Frankenstein. Damn, if this movie wasn't probably the most beautiful movie out of all of these. It looked amazing. Makeup design was amazing. And I mean, it won for all of that, but it was way too long. And I have the same issue with sentimental value. It just really starts dragging in the middle.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. This is my least favorite movie out of the 10 by far, just because I thought this was probably one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I'm not like a hater against Frankenstein. I don't think that topic or that character is really drawing out for me. Like I wasn't even excited for The Bride that came out like 2 weeks ago. Just like it's not a very exciting character for me, but also like the movie itself it just didn't have me. It didn't at all.
I think one of the big problems is like there was certain plot points, say for example, like him being born and trying to figure out what it is to be human. That got dragged out for like 45 minutes. I checked the time. I was like, oh my God, I get it. Like he's basically a baby in a super strong monster's body. I get it. You don't have to keep showing me little things that he's like trying to learn and understand. We've seen this.
Yeah. Once it got to like the monsters like story arc of it all, I was like, dude, we're only halfway through this. No way. I was like, come on now. What are we doing here? It just didn't really have me. It won 3 Oscars yesterday for set production design, haircut and like makeup styling, and something else.
It did look really pretty.
Yeah. That's kind of what Del Toro is known for. So I'm not that surprised about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So for this next one, it's going to be my pick. For me, I feel like I just have to go with what is next on my list, which is Begonia.
Okay.
For me, this movie just doesn't hit. This was number 9 out of mine. I think I like Yorgos movies. Like I really like Poor Things. But for me, this is just not as well done. And I think the ending, some people either love it or hate it. And I'm one of those people that I don't think I hate it. It's like, okay, it's weird. Like it just doesn't hit hard for me at all.
Yeah, my issue with the ending specifically in this movie is I think Plemons would have gotten nominated for Best Actor until you realize that he wasn't a crazy person. He was just a normal guy. Like he was right. So the ending really takes that away from him and his character. And I think that's where a lot of people have an issue is like, we were just being misled the whole movie. It seemed a
Yeah.
little cheap, I guess.
Yeah. It didn't get nominated for that much, really, other than, I guess, Best Picture, Emma Stone. I thought Emma Stone was good in this, but like Clemens is the movie. Like he takes over the
Yeah.
movie. This is not one of Emma Stone's great performances. I think Chase Infinity got snubbed for being nominated. I thought she deserved it way more than Emma Stone did for her role, because the whole movie,
Yeah.
one by after another, revolves around Chase Infinity, and she didn't get the love for that. If I had to take a swap, it would be Emma Stone for Chase Infinity. But yeah, for me, Begonia just didn't hit that much.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I had it a little bit higher on my personal ranking, but um, I'll go ahead with number 7. I have The Secret Agent. Now, I liked this movie. I understand why it's showed up a lot at the Oscars. Obviously, Best Picture, Wagner Moore for Best Actor. But I think at points it can get a little sidetracked with its plot lines. I felt that in the middle, but I still really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a nice, like, crime action movie, and doing some research on it, just kind of them wanting to tell the story of kind of a corrupt government in Brazil and seeing that from on like a specific story rather than a grand scale whole country event. A pretty cool way to do that as well.
Yeah, it definitely just had me lost for the first half of the movie. I think that's what really took away from it for me as well. But Ragnar Mora won a Golden Globe, and then like really no love after that, which I did. The whole Best Actor race itself, we could talk about when we get to who won with Michael B. Jordan. But like the race was insane. Like I feel like compared to most years, like
Yeah.
the Golden Globe winners were totally different from the SAG winner, and then the SAG winner ended up becoming the guy, but the Critics' Choice was different. So it's just like it was all over. I felt like the whole race was.
Yeah. No, it was pretty wild. I think like that's what I'm saying too. Like I think any other year Jesse Plemons gets nominated.
Yeah, but there's so much to give out this year.
Yeah.
Like there's so many good like lead actor performances.
Yeah.
Talk about lead actor performances. For me, for number 6 is going to be Train Dreams.
Wow. Okay.
So this is at this point from like seven of these movies, I all rank 4.5 or higher. So I really enjoy all these movies. It's just like, which one would I come back to rewatch more? You know, that's how I was ranking
Yeah.
it. If I like all these at the same level, which one am I going to actually come back to probably for 5 years from now compared to other ones?
Yeah. You wouldn't
Train
watch Train
Dreams,
Dreams again?
I would watch F1 and One Battle After Another more. I think it's easier to watches.
Yeah. But Train Dreams is so good.
Train Dreams, beautifully shot. Also a great lead acting performance from Joel Egerton, who also didn't really get any love. He was nominated for a Critics' Choice, and that's about it. That's all you really saw. It's a movie about like taking grief, but also like, I don't know, just like the story of life. And sometimes life doesn't move just because stuff happens to you, kind of thing. And like the whole ending in the movie is a beautifully shot movie.
Immaculate score too. I mean, really
Yeah.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
think I need to get this one off the board because shouldn't be sitting here still. I'm gonna get rid of F1. I enjoyed this movie. I just think it's such a like blockbuster style movie, and I don't think it deserves to be on this list for that reason. I mean, there's some really beautiful movies. I just don't think it deserves to be that high. I mean, is what I'm saying. I would take it personally, Train Dreams over it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Also a stacked year. F1 was
Yeah.
good. It was really good, but it's also kind of just like a popcorn movie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's a very fun movie. I think one of my favorite theater experiences watching it, though, I saw it in IMAX, like in a 4D theater. So it's just like really cool to watch in that way with like it's shaking as it's driving. I also think the cinematography is also insane. The sound editing, like in that kind of theater, it straight up sounded like you were at like a freaking race, which was just insane, which I thought was
See,
awesome.
compare that to we were watching Lainey that weekend, your parents' dog, and I'm sitting
Yeah.
in Ty's recliner and just those speakers up there, man. Your neighbors probably felt like there was an F1 race going on at your
Yeah.
house.
I think Brad Pitt is giving a good performance, not one of his best performances, but I just think the
Yeah.
idea of the movie, and I don't know, it was a really fun movie, like super fun.
I can't think of the kid's name. The other driver, the young driver, the kind of
Damson
hothead.
Idris, yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants him to play Black Panther, and I wouldn't be opposed to it.
No, I'm looking forward to see whatever he does because he was by far like the standout in the film for me.
Snowfall too. He's in Snowfall. Everybody says he's amazing in that.
Yeah. Okay. So number 4 for me, I think me and you have like the same top 3. So this could be either hated on or just understanding, but I'm going to take one battle after another here.
Which is crazy.
For me, this is a 4.5 star movie still. We did this movie on the podcast before. It won Best Picture on Sunday. Best Supporting Actor in Sean Penn, who didn't even show up. Don't even think he's the best supporting actor in that movie. But anyways, I think Del Toro is way better in the movie than he is. But it deserves all the love that it's getting. I'm glad Paul Thomas Anderson's also getting the love he's finally getting after all the he's just a weird guy that wants to make some weird movies about some weird dudes. And you know what? Who's going to take that away from him?
Did you see what he said when he got up there? He's like, dang, you guys make a guy work hard for one of these.
Yeah. And then he probably should have looked right at Timmy, and Timmy would have been like, God damn it. Yeah, we really like one battle after another on this. It's top 4. It's just I couldn't put it over the other 3 for me.
Any other year, it's top movie.
Yeah.
Especially the last couple of years, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is
and
crazy
it's like
to say that we
deserving winner for Best Picture. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to be one of those people like, no, this should have won. No, I think any of these 4, I would have been happy with winning.
Exactly. They all could have won any other year.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm going to take Sinners. So maybe,
I'm going to use my veto here.
Yeah. Okay. How do I want this to go?
Yeah. Now you got to make a real tough choice.
I'll take Marty Supreme.
Okay.
And you know I love that movie.
Yeah. I mean, so do I. It's a 5-star movie for me.
Yeah, really great movie. Didn't get any love at the Oscars, which I thought was interesting. And maybe that has to do with the whole press tour and everything, kind of forcing it into the Oscars. But I really enjoyed this movie. I don't really give a shit what Timmy had to say about the ballet, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I think the way they did the press is why it was so commercially successful, why it made so much money. But I think that's also why it got no love at the Oscars. To be that like egotistical and like prideful / just like cocky through a press tour does wonders because that's what the movie is. But the Academy clearly did not recognize that or like it really, other than nominating them. The thing about him coming out with Ballet, that interview is from like 2019 with Matthew McConaughey.
Well, I feel like it was kind of taken out of context too.
Yeah. I mean,
he was kind of just saying like, the movies are headed on a downward trend, just like Ballet had. And I was like, he's not wrong. Do you guys not like look at statistics?
Yeah. It's just interesting that came out. There's definitely like, some people are saying that like, they created like a stride of like hate towards him for the past like month. Because it seemed like he had all the momentum in like January, February, and then he just lost it all. And then it was Michael B. Jordan's from there on. Pretty much the SAG, the Actors Awards, was really where he took over. Mm-hmm. I think it may look at it in a couple years and be like, why didn't really recognize Timothée Chalamet for his best work? Because this may end up being his best work of his entire career. Because like, I don't know, it's just a phenomenal performance.
I don't know, dude. Pictures from Dune came out today and everybody was like, oh, this is why he was sitting there laughing the whole time at the show.
Yeah. It's El Gaib. For me, number 2, I feel like you're going to probably veto either choice or like the choice that I make anyways.
Yeah.
So I'll just do it how it's going to be anyways, with Sinners being number 2.
Bingo.
Because I knew if I did Hammett, you would have picked it. You would have vetoed it. So
yeah.
Sinners, the most nominated movie of all time for the Oscars. Just amazing story itself. Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor. No one saw that coming at the Actors Awards. And then he had probably the biggest standing ovation at that awards ceremony, even more than Harrison Ford, who got an Achievement Award. The crowd was going crazy for him. And then at that point, I was like, oh, wow, I think the tables are turning. I think this is his to lose now. There's some point within the last week, everyone was like, is Sinners going to make like the move and like win Best Picture? It didn't. Still won a bunch of awards. Ryan Coogler got his original screenplay. I love this movie. So
yeah, no, I love this movie too. Again, I just think it's so stacked this year. And I hope we're this lucky every year, right? Like, what a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great movie. Yeah, everything was pretty amazing in this. The soundtrack, the cinematography, screenplay was amazing. Characters were so distinct, which I feel like we don't talk about a lot in movies, is just having such separated kind of caricatures being utilized in film. Sometimes they kind of just merge in and end up falling in line with backup characters. But we've seen it with all the people that they had nominated, right? They had pretty much somebody in every acting category.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Black Panther 3, it's going to probably be one of the biggest hype movies of all time.
Yeah.
After this came out, right? Ryan Coogler's like on the top of the world right now, the hype around him.
Yeah. And then number 1, I'm going to take Hamnet. This is just my personal favorite, which if you showed me this list before I had watched any of these movies, I'd probably put Hamnet at 8 or 9 just based off of looks. I had no interest in seeing this movie. I had no real interest in this genre, Shakespeare, anything like that. And maybe that's why I'm so high on it, is just because I'm so shocked by it that it was something I'd never be interested in. But wow, was it not amazing? Everything, again, I mean, we could say the same thing. Characters, cinematography, soundtrack, everything was just so well done in this movie. And Chloe Zhao, absolutely killed.
Yeah, some of the best child acting too, out of like really anything I've seen. Noah Jupe was insane again. And then Jessie Buckley won like 44 awards this award season for that role, which is insane when you think about, I haven't seen The Bride, but I've heard really bad things about The Bride and how like she can still dominate while like one of the worst movies of the year came out and she's the star of that one. So
yeah,
just speaks to her performance, which is just,
I thought it was interesting too. She was talking about how she just had a young girl, which she was probably going through the pregnancy during this filming. And so like probably utilizing a lot of emotion and feeling that she was, gaining, becoming a mother during that process. And that was really cool to see too.
Yeah, all the actors like that one, other than of course Sean Penn, I really like their speeches too. I like their speech about motherhood and how this is for all mothers, and then like it's Mother's Day in the UK. EJ, like right when he started off being like, "What's up, mama?" I was like, "Dang!" I was like, "That's cool as shit." Like, how can you not root for this guy? And then Amy Madigan was so cool too.
Yeah, that was cool. And Conan was pretty hilarious. The one I had a problem with was somebody from K-pop Demon Hunters. Was like, I'm so happy to win this for people that look like me. Like Bong Joon-ho didn't win Best Picture for Parasite. That kind of blew my mind that he wouldn't know that going into the Oscars. That was like so big at the time.
Yeah, I think the way they didn't phrase it the best way, because I think what they meant was for kids. Because it's like kids are not going to watch Parasite. I would hope not.
Yeah, maybe like young teen girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Teen girls.
Even like boys, like dude, people are obsessed with this movie. Like,
no, I know it was good,
but I get what you mean. I don't think it was the best phrasing by them.
I immediately was sitting there like, Parasite?
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So this week's movies we did based off of Oscar snubs. I really like how I chose these movies were movies that weren't nominated for Best Picture. They may have gotten very minimal love by the Academy, but I really looked up like what's the biggest Oscar snubs of all time for Best Picture. And these were two of them that we haven't seen before. A lot of the other ones that have been nominated in the past, we have seen before. So we wanted to really reach out there and try to find two, being Children of Men and Aftersun. So, Justin, if you want to start off with Children of Men.
Yeah. I knew nothing about this movie coming into it, besides the fact that I saw Julianne Moore in it, which is interesting. We'll get into later. So following the plot, it's basically infertility is threatening mankind with extinction. The last child was born, I think 19 years ago, which, gives you a solid 50 to 60 years, ideally, until humankind's gone. So there's a lot of different moving parts in this movie, but it basically follows like kind of like a rebel group who is trying to, get somebody to safety, get them out of England and get them to what they think is a place where they're trying to, make humans give birth again. So it kind of follows that rebel group, who's on whose side kind of action. I gave it a 7. I thought it was an interesting plot line, but I think the characters really started to build up on me, and I was getting pretty, not lost, but just trying to figure out who's on whose side, what's going on at any given point in time. It definitely cleaned up towards the end, which helped a lot. But even then, there's a scene at the end during a huge battle going on around our main characters. And I'm like, who's even fighting right now? I had a hard time kind of distinguishing that. I know it was the kind of poor immigrants that they put into a little small town, and then the army. But I'm like, why are they fighting the people that aren't armed? Or are they fighting somebody else who just showed up? Yeah, I don't know.
So the revolutionary group spearheaded by Chiwetel Ejiofor, or plays Luke.
That was the same people they were fighting?
Yes. So they were part of the revolutionary group when they first show up and the girl's pregnant. But what they want to do with the baby, obviously did not agree with Julianne Moore, who they end up killing her because they're on the same wave. Julianne Moore's character, they want to get her out and to a safe place so she can have the baby safely, while they want to do it in front of the world to bring hope. What they think is bringing hope back to the world, but it's really an unsafe environment for the baby to be born and take that kind of risk. And so Clive Owen takes it on his own because he's like one of the last people that knows what it's like to like go through like hardship of having a baby in the first place, because Julianne Moore has a miscarriage. And that's like kind of interpreted from that way. And then it follows him trying to get her out of that situation back to like where Julianne Moore wanted to take her, to a safer area, while this revolutionary group is trying to get her back to show this baby in front of the whole world.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I was just getting confused there at the end because I knew they were there, but I thought they were fighting somebody else too. Because, from what we had seen, the revolutionary group wasn't that massive. It was just a couple people from what we knew of.
Yeah, I think they were fighting them, but they were also fighting them in a building that like other like homeless or like impoverished people were just living in. So it wasn't even fair to them in the first place that they were just fighting through their area that they were living. And then the government was just like how anti-immigration they were like throughout the whole movie, which like this is a super anti-immigrant or pro-immigration type of movie, just showing like the evil side of like not letting people immigrate.
So I gave that a 7. I also gave a 7. I thought the characters were pretty well done. I think it's interesting to kill off Julianne Moore's character like 20 minutes in. Clive Owen was a pretty good character as well. I thought it was interesting to see a hero not be an action star around this time, right? Because around that time, there was just so many people were the heroes and they were the ones running around gunslinging, being the action stars. But he was kind of a nurturing hero, I guess you could say. He was the one who basically just took all the risk with none of the reward.
Yeah, no, I really liked Theo, which is played by Clive Owen. I also like Jasper, played by Michael Caine. I thought that was a really interesting character for Michael Caine to play. Like this stoned out guy who ends up like sacrificing himself for the bigger goal of like, because like the reason why him and Theo are so close is because he knows like Theo like gives off this tough exterior, but he's like probably like one of the softest guys in like the whole movie, like just how much he cares and nurtures. And then you understand that once you hear like they were pregnant at one point, him and Julianne Moore's character. Yeah, it's crazy how that whole sequence, first off, shot beautifully when they're like driving through, and then she's shot. Like that whole like lead up to the film is just like an insane like sequence of events, like all shot in one go.
Yeah.
But really, that's like the exposition of like the movie, just start it all out.
Yeah. Cinematography, I gave it a 7. I was very conflicted with the cinematography for this movie because obviously you had good shots like that one. Then you also had the tracking shots at the end, the final battle scene. It was like following our two main characters throughout the city for a whole 25, 30 minutes, which is pretty awesome to see and pretty great. But I really just hate when movies put gray shading on a movie and just like call it good. Like it's so lazy and like, I don't understand. We've seen things like Blade Runner 2049, dystopian future that's supposed to be dark, and we've seen the whole array of rainbow in that movie. You can't sit here and tell me you're okay with just making your movie gray as shit. It's not cool. Yeah. It doesn't look good. That really frustrated me as soon as I turned on this movie. I was like, here we go. And I know it's England. People say it looks like that all the time there, but I don't like it.
Interesting. I liked it a lot, but that's just mainly because the tracking shot sequences for me really did it. And for me, the colors didn't really take away from it. Maybe because, again, I know it's England, so it's like that's just how dreary it would probably be, especially in like the world that it's in.
Yeah.
So the guy, Emmanuel Lubezki, he's known for doing tracking shots. So I've seen a couple movies of his, Choderman being one of them, Gravity, Birdman, The Revenant, and he's doing a new movie this year, Digger, also with Alejandro Naruto, but like a lot of those movies are known for tracking shots. So this is kind of like his thing, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, so I liked it a little bit more, but
And then with the dialogue, I gave it an 8. I think there's a lot of really good dialogue in this movie. I picked the one, though, from Michael Caine. He said, "Everything is mythical, cosmic battle between faith and chance." I thought that one was pretty cool. Just in the plot line of trying to just get this lady to safety and hope that she can have the baby. We don't even know if it'll work in the end. So it's feels really hopeless, but her, Key, and Theo are the ones really carrying all the hope of the world in their hands, which is pretty important.
yeah, I really like it just because it fits into the themes without like their different lines throughout it to each other, even like in the smaller ones. Like as this Miriam says, as the sound of the playgrounds faded, the despair set in. Very odd. What happens in a world without children's voices? To really like happen right at the start of the movie. It's just really interesting. Also, like the side dialogues, like with at the beginning of the movie with like the news reports about like what would a world look like with not having kids for 18 years. It's like they're like celebrities if they're the youngest, which is
Yeah.
we all know is not good for good for them to be a celebrity if they're like the hope for the future.
Yeah. And then set design, I also gave this a 7. I thought it was a fine looking dystopian world. Definitely some interesting choices for the advancements in technology, but I consider films like Blade Runner 2049, and I don't even need it to be that, but I just really don't understand this like just gloomy look the whole time. It's like you can add some color in here and still tell a great story. Everything doesn't have to be dark because it's a dark storyline.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really take much away from the set design. I gave it an 8. I think it's definitely, I mean, straight up in the style design that I read up on it, it's like it's anti Blade Runner, so it's is rejecting those today. Like if you notice in this film, it looks straight up like 2005. It does not even look like a future world, even though it's set in 2027. This was made in 2005, so you got 20 years, and like there's like no real technological advancements seen in this movie to kind of like orchestrate that. Oh yeah, this would be like very advanced world. It's like no, it actually wouldn't, especially
Mhm.
without kids for like that long.
And then acting, I gave it a 6. I thought it was fine at best. Very interesting to kill Julianne Moore that early, especially, I saw her. I was like, oh, you think you see somebody that big and she's going to stick around maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes in. And then Clive Owen, I don't know who that guy is, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I really like Clive Owen's performance in this. I've seen him in like a couple other things. So I've seen him in The Bourne Identity, and The Inside Man with like alongside like Denzel Washington in that movie. I don't really see him in a lot of others, but I think he's a mainly British actor, so I'm guessing that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think Michael Caine was also really interesting in this movie to just see him like go out of his usual roles. I mean, like at the same time, this is right before he becomes Alfred in the Batman movies, so.
Yeah.
Going right from this into being Alfred is quite interesting for him.
And then directing, I gave it a 7. I thought it was just fine. Nothing was special except the tracking shots, which even then I'd probably leave more up to the cinematography for in the editing. But yeah, I thought that some of the scenes were pretty cool, but besides that, nothing grabbed me too heavily here.
Yeah, the actor Alfonso Cuarón, he did Little Princess in '95, Y Tu Mama Tambien in 2001, and then he did a Harry Potter movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban, who many regard as the best Harry Potter movie, and then Children of Men, Gravity, and then he won Best Picture and Best Director for Roma in 2018. So just quite a not a extensive like filmography, but a very interesting one, I would think, just because these all seem like very different kinds of films.
Yeah.
But when you talk about like the dreary side of it, Prisoner of Azkaban is like a very dreary looking movie, very similar to
hmm
Children of Men.
Interesting. So for soundtrack, I gave it an 8. I thought it was a pretty cool use of British punk and classic rock throughout the movie. That stood out to me mainly. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, the soundtrack was like nothing special for me other than it was good, but it was nothing that really stood out.
And then themes, I gave it a 6. Obviously, you have hope, faith, human resilience, but you really had a lot of opportunity to add more depth with these characters. And I just wish the characters themselves were a little more drawn out. Obviously, you have Theo and Key were the main ones that you got to really draw out. But besides that, Michael Caine, just a pothead, Julianne Moore dead. And then the revolutionaries were just
there was definitely context given to her that just it wasn't explicitly like told to you, but like she
No, I
straight up was
know.
like probably like she was pregnant at one point, and that's why she felt so connected to that story and why she wanted to help her out.
Yeah, but why do I care? She's gone 20 minutes in.
Because her and Clive Owen's character are literally like married, or like they were married at some point. They're like that
Yeah,
was the
well,
love of
that
his
gets passed
life.
on to him. That gets passed on to him. That's what I was saying.
And he's doing
His
it because
themes are
of her.
good.
I don't even think he's doing it because of him. I think maybe way towards the end, he's like, oh, maybe he's doing it for himself, but I think he's mainly doing it for Julian, like pretty much like the entire movie.
Yeah, that's fine. But again, that's his character. And then Key's character had good themes attached to her. Nobody else. I got nothing else from anybody else.
I think Luke, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, I thought he was like the main villain of the movie, right? Up until like the very end when he's just like, when he like pleads to him, he's like, wait, but like, was I doing the right thing? He's like, I used to have a sister. You could tell like he noticed that he was doing something wrong, but he's like so stuck in the moment of like what he thought he was doing was right. And I don't know.
Yeah, but I didn't even see him half the movie. He was there
Because
in
he's
the
a
beginning. Yeah, we found out he was the bad guy, and then he shows up for the baby for 5 minutes and he's dead. I just got nothing out of any of the supporting cast here, and it really frustrated me. Like, it was just that basic, like, those basic themes of human resilience, and then, yeah, I felt like I was just watching any other action film. And then I feel like everybody's main issue in this was everybody had their own reason for surviving, and then that was it. There was no real in-depth dialogue or internal dialogue, I guess you could say, trying to understand more about these characters. It was just, what's your reason for surviving? This is mine. This is mine. This is mine.
But it's set in a world that like, what would you be your reason for surviving? If like no kid's been born for 18 years, then you know you're the last one. At some point, it has to like reality has to set in for them and being like, what else is there to this world? And like that is a very pessimistic way to look at their life. Yeah,
they
off
know
of
there's
one
hope.
kid, but they have a different view of how to resemble that hope. What they want to do is show the world the kid, while Clive Owen's like, no, we need to nurture this kid and make sure that he's actually the start of this new world, rather than you publishing him to the world and then like probably killing himself at like 17. That like literally happens right at the beginning of the movie with like the youngest person in the world.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't get it from, maybe it was the acting that took away from me. Editing, I gave it a 7 as well. I like, they kind of did some research. They filmed it like a documentary style, which I guess tries to make it more real worldy. I like the long action tracking shots. I thought that was pretty good. And then obviously they used some sort of handheld camera for some of the shots, which was also pretty cool, especially in like a war scene. I like when movies do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought the editing was pretty cool. For me, what's the runtime of this movie? It's 109 minutes, and it felt like probably shorter than that to me while watching it. Like it didn't feel like an extremely long watch for me.
Yeah, it was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. I've been texting you this week because I've had I keep running into movies that we're watching, and I'm like, oh my God, why is it 3 hours long? But this one did do that for me. It was okay. So I gave it overall a 7 out of 10. I thought it was fine. It just didn't grab me. Maybe it was the plot line. Maybe it was the dreariness. I just couldn't get that invested in it.
I gave it an 8.1 out of 10 or 81 out of 100. So slightly above you. I really enjoy, like, I think more so the themes and the plot of this movie. While I think some of the dialogue points, the sound effects, and as well as the set design kind of takes away from me.
Overall, snub.
What does that mean? Like, it should have been snub?
Yeah, I agree with the Academy here.
Yeah. I want to see what year it got actually nominated and see like
see what it was up against.
Yeah, so it's Best Picture nominees that year are The Departed, Babel, Letters from Iwo Jima, Little Miss Sunshine, and The Queen. It's pretty hard to talk about it when I'd only have seen 2 of these.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Queen. It just sounds boring, but who knows? Maybe it isn't. Little Miss Sunshine and The Departed are really good movies, so I don't think those should be. And the other 2, I just have no idea if they're really good or not.
I'm still snubbing it. I've only seen The Departed.
Awesome. Okay. So the movie that I'm doing is Aftersun. Aftersun came out in 2022. So a post-COVID movie, A24 focused movie as well. Yeah, so the movie starts up, really it's just a coming of age drama film, but really just follows like a daughter and the father on this like vacation that she's remembering from her past at this Turkish resort right before his first birthday, and really realistic. And just a couple days while they're together, that kind of leads into like later in the film, or I would say about halfway the film, you realize why she's remembering it the way she is, because she's trying to see if there was any signs that she missed out on, like really just his depression and why he no longer is in her life.
Yeah, I
So for the
really
plot,
yeah,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No. I knew nothing about this coming into it, just that Paul Mescal was in it, and I was like pleasantly surprised by the plot. I wasn't expecting kind of like a darker toned movie,
Yeah.
but get into the plot.
Yeah. So the plot, I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really interesting way to tell a story because like right at the beginning, you could tell that you're like, okay, where's this going? Because it's like camcorder footage, but it's like, oh, she's just trying to remember things from like the last time they were really together. And before you learn at the end of the movie that like he kills himself because he's like writing to her about like, I hope you know I always love you. And like a lot of like the movie parts of the scenes that she never saw was like him fighting through it while she's like going, having fun, playing like these pool games with like the other kids, having her like probably, I think, first kiss of her life. So it's just like a crazy time, fun time for her while he's just like at the brink of like exploding. And
Yeah.
there's very small signs that she could even pick up on, but we got to see behind the scenes.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I think Paul Mescal really came onto my scene this weekend with that in Hamnet. He was really breathtaking in this because, you know, he delivered such a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, especially in front of her. And then we don't know what's going on his end really throughout the movie. We just see that he's clearly going through something. And those scenes with him alone were, tough watches.
Yeah, because right at the beginning, he's doing like Tai Chi, self-help books. Like he's always smoking and stuff, but then like later he just gives up on like doing any like self-help like activities to really help himself out. Constantly the money being brought up as well throughout the film about how he doesn't have enough money to afford stuff. I think there's like one line, it's like, she was like, please don't act like you're going to pay for something when I know you don't have the money to. And it's like, I'm not a parent, but like, I know that's like, that's just like a bratty thing to say no matter who you are. But like kids don't know it means like that, but it's just like heartbreaking to probably hear as like a parent.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So the characters, I gave it 8 out of 10. I mean, the two main ones are really like the whole movie. Everyone else is like super side, just because like there's on the vacation too with them. But Callum and Sophie, like it feels like such a father and daughter connection. I mean, at one point they're like, "Oh, your little sister." He's like, "No, that's my daughter," and they're like, "Oh, my bad." And he's like, "Oh no, it's all good." Again, he really resembles well to what I think a lot of parents can sometimes recognize with of like putting on a front of like being this easygoing, like happy person for your kids. But sometimes there's just everyone's going through their own thing and you just never know what each person's going through.
Yeah, one big thing I got from his character too is being such a young father. It really felt like they were doing a lot of kids things together too, you know, dancing, playing games together, all that kind of stuff. So then to see him really have to face these real adult things alone, it just felt kind of scary for him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's clearly that him and the mother are not in the best terms with each other. So it's like he really is on his own, even though they're trying to raise this child together, which sadly, like a lot of people in our generation do have to experience like a joint of experience of like growing their kid or raising their kid. The cinematography, I gave it 9 out of 10. I thought this was beautifully shot. You had like the going back and forth from the camcorder. Some shots are like, you have to like look through the TV lens to understand what's going on because it's also through the camcorder. Like I remember like one towards the end of the scene, she's like, "Oh, when you were 11, did you expect you to be where you are now?" And then he's just like, "Stop recording." And then like, I'm sure if she was looking back at that as an adult, she's just like, wow,
Yeah.
that hit home.
Painful.
But yeah.
I thought the shots too, kind of about him, the kind of strobe lights dancing in like what seemed to be like a nightclub. Those are really interesting too, especially to find out at the end that was where he was going, was into the darkness, into his darkness. He was kind of collapsing to the chaos of what was going on in his head. That was some really cool shots kind of leading up to that throughout the movie.
What I read was that like that was the last clip, or like that was the memory of him getting lost in her memories. Like
Mm-hmm. Okay.
as that's going on, it's him going to the darkness, but it's also her losing the memory of him.
Okay.
So that's also what I read about that. I kind of see it that way. Especially at the end of the movie where it's like that final scene of flashing and then it goes totally black. And it's like, does that mean that like she just forgets about, like, she just doesn't remember him really anymore? And like all she can hold back onto is the camcorder footage, which is quite sad to think about.
Yeah.
But the dialogue, I gave it 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed like a lot of their lines with each other. But there's a lot of face acting in this movie. That's the only reason why I took off 2 points, because there's a lot of stuff happening that was not said with words. And yet you just had to
Mm-hmm.
interpret based off of like how Paul Mescal was acting with his face.
Yeah, even Sophie as well. I think she did the child actor did a pretty good job too at doing that. I think about the scene where she was kind of hanging out with the older teenagers, and she's just kind of trying to understand everything going on around her. With only them talking, you could see that she was kind of coming to understand everything that's going on around her, which I thought was pretty cool.
Probably my favorite line is, and then there's this feeling once you leave where you're from, like where you grew up, that you don't totally belong there again. It's off this conversation where she's like, I like where I'm from. And he's like, I don't want to be back there. Cause he's like, I just don't feel like I belong anymore. Like that whole back and forth leading up to that quote of like, once you move away, you never feel like you should belong in that place again. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like that's a pretty deep. Cool. Now getting into acting, I gave it 9 out of 10. I mean, they're just both really good at like face acting again, where you could tell their emotions without like them having to explicitly tell you what is going on and what they're feeling. Especially when she's like looking at like the older kids doing like interesting new stuff that she's never seen before. And you can see she's intrigued by that, but also confused. So it's like a
Yeah.
intrigued, but confusion look that I think is really hard to do. Also because it turns out in the movie that she is gay. So when she sees like the two guys kissing, that's probably one of the first times she's ever seen that in her life too.
I think also they just had like really good chemistry together. Every conversation between them, whether it was, relatively harsh, whether it was relatively friendly and fun, I think like it fit well.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. And then sound effects. I think this is like the one thing that took away from me, but that's just because it was not a focus of this movie.
Yeah.
It was like a super background thing. Like there were just sound effects just wasn't a point of this movie. So I
Yeah.
only could give it like a 6.
Yeah, I agree. It's special.
The set design, I gave it 8 out of 10 because I mean it was like a Turkish resort kind of place, but like they were clearly living in a cheaper place than everyone else there. They did not have like the all inclusive part of it, but it just seemed like a normal like just random resort that they decided to go to for like a weekend. That I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked like, they fit in with the people that were there, but also the environment as well.
And then directing, I gave it 8 out of 10 for the overall directing. I don't think I've really ever heard of Charlotte Wells before. Obviously, if it came out in 2022, and A24 is really known for giving new directors a chance at these different kinds of stories. But just looking at her whole career, I mean, Aftersun is really her main thing. And then she hasn't really done anything after. So editing, I gave it 8 out of 10. Again, this is not a very long movie, but it didn't feel like a chore to watch.
Yeah.
Some of the other movies we've done, it was 101 minutes, so it passes like the 100-minute rule of like it doesn't feel long at all, and very well edited.
Yeah, I thought the editing was particularly good, especially between the camcorder scenes, kind of the strobe light scenes, and then also the only thing I'd really want to say, and this kind of more on plot, I'd like to see adult Sophie coming to terms with her, understanding of who her father was, but also becoming a parent herself. That might have
Hmm.
been kind of cool if you wanted to add 30 minutes on of that, maybe towards the end. But other than that, I understand why you also didn't. You kind of leave it up to the viewer as well.
Yeah, because it cuts to her for a little bit, like for 5 minutes, but then it cuts back to like that trip. But it would have been cool to like end the movie with like 5 to 10 minutes, like her talking to her wife, just like about what's going through in her head as it's
Hmm.
her birthday and like thinking about her father and stuff. Like a little monologue about it, about like
Yeah.
what this whole movie sums up to. Overall, the theme, I gave a 9 out of 10 because I don't think I've seen many movies to touch on this topic of like parents and like what they resemble to you as a kid. but like also what's hiding behind them, and then also tackling like how depression is like a disorder that like not everybody can defeat, and it really just takes a team being able to defeat it, and like no one can take it on themselves because clearly he was trying to take it on himself.
Yeah, no, he was, and I think that was what made the theme so interesting in this movie, was we're solely seeing it from Sophie's perspective, right? We don't know what's happened to him besides some hints at financial trouble. We don't know what's really dragging on him, right? But obviously depression, but what specific real life things can we grab onto that say, is it his marriage? Is it his financial problems? What's he really grabbing onto that's holding him down so much? And so just seeing it from Sophie's perspective was such a cool way to understand, like, you really don't know what's going on in somebody else's head, especially because we see him laughing, swimming, having a great
Yeah.
time all the time. And that's what she thinks too. She thinks nothing's wrong.
Yeah. It seemed to me like with a lot of the lines that he's talking to her that was really brought up about like how she wants to live places, what do you want to be and all this. And he didn't have a belonging. Like he didn't feel like he belonged anywhere or like anything that he had to himself, if that makes sense. Like he
Yeah.
didn't have anything that like really drove him to be anything crazy or like unique, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's just how I interpret it. Awesome. So I gave it overall 8.1 out of 10 or 81 out of 100. So pretty much the same score as Children of Men, completely different themes, but like still centered around children, which is quite interesting that both movies do.
Yeah, I gave this one an 8. Should not have been snubbed. That
Yeah.
should be on there for at least the editing, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. I think let's look at it real quick if I can
It might
find
have
it.
won something besides Best Picture. I don't know, but
Now, as far as I'm concerned, this was like the beginning of when A24 started getting recognized, really. But let's look real quick. It's 2022 or it'd be 2023. But yeah, because right after this year,
isn't that when Everything Everywhere All at Once won?
yeah, that's
Or
what
was
I'm
that?
thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, so Paul Mescal was nominated for Best Actor, and that's all the Academy Awards was nominated for. Brendan Fraser won that year. So the Best Picture nominees that year were Everything Everywhere All at Once, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun: Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Woman Talking.
I'd put it over Fablemans in my opinion. Fablemans
Yeah,
was good, but
yeah, I could see Fabelmans or Elvis personally. I really
yeah,
don't like
Elvis
Elvis.
should. I haven't seen Elvis, but I can imagine it's probably a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So what we're going to do now is like an Oscar snubs draft. The way that this is going to be in the same light of an snub is if it's not nominated for that category. So the categories being Best Picture, Lead Actor, Lead Actress, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Original or Adapted, Cinematography, and then Wild Card, which can be any category that you just want to shine out about it. Again, it just was not nominated for that specific category. Cool. Let's do the wheel. So you get to pick first. Hey, I get to go first this time.
Hey,
I feel like this is a very open draft though, to where like
yeah.
it really is going to be like our own opinions about stuff. Um, especially like the people that are just nominated at all for stuff.
There's
But
maybe one or
first,
two that definitely need to be taken, like 1 and 2, but
yeah, I think so too. With the performances, I feel like that's just like up to your person. Like, what do you think? Like, should be
yeah.
loved more. Okay, I'm looking at it just from here. And I think a good practice for us would be to look up the year itself and what would it replace. It doesn't need to be like, but I think that'd just be fun to do. Be like, okay, if you're gonna pick this to be it, what would it replace? You know.
Okay.
So for Best Picture, I'm gonna do that one right off the bat, and I'm gonna go with Interstellar.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what you were interpreting or what you
Yeah,
were referring
that
to.
was one of my 2.
Yeah, I think it definitely should have been nominated that year. I'm pulling it up right now to see which one I would replace. But I think it was, I mean, Interstellar is amazing. And the fact that it wasn't, I'm just genuinely was shocked, especially because it's Christopher Nolan and the fact that Christopher Nolan didn't get love for it. So this year, Birdman wins, American Sniper, Boyhood, Grand Budapest Hotel, Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. Personally, what I would take off, because I've seen all of these movies, American Sniper, I would replace it with. I would way rather have Interstellar in there
Yeah.
than American Sniper. Awesome.
Sorry, I'm looking at mine because I know I'm about to take it here. So I'm going to take Amy Adams for Arrival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my number one pick.
I'm looking at it here. I haven't seen any of the other ones beside La La Land. So I would honestly put it in front of any of them. Isabella Huppert for Ellie, Ruth Negga for Loving, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, and then Natalie Portman for Jackie. Yeah, it's kind of a miracle that she didn't get put in here. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Elle or Loving, so I can't, I can't really speak on either of those, but,
Mm,
and then you're talking about Natalie Portman and Meryl Streep, so it's like, okay,
yeah,
but she's just amazing in Arrival. So like the fact that it didn't get any love is kind of
yeah.
insane for her. But then she was nominated for The Master. All right. But not for Arrival.
Mm, Let me see here. I had one on my list, but I don't know where it went. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna knock lead actor out of the way. I'm gonna take Jack Nicholson for The Shining.
This was on my list
Now,
as well.
yeah, I think we're gonna see a reoccurring theme with Stanley Kubrick movies because I guess the Academy hates him from the research I've been doing this week. I don't know what their deal is. So let me see. Do you have the year of that movie by any chance?
1980.
So 1981 Oscars.
Solid
See.
win.
Yeah. All right. Google doesn't want to participate. All right. De Niro, Raging Bull, Peter O'Toole, the stuntman, Robert Duvall, the Great Santini. Dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I would have put him in here. I mean, obviously that's such an iconic role.
Yeah. I read up on that role because he was also on my list, and it's because they thought it was over the top at that point. They thought they thought the performance was over the top, and that's why it was not picked or
Sounds
nominated.
jealous.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I feel like I could go to a lot of places at this point. I'm just trying to see where I want to go with this. So I just don't think we have the same things from here on out. I'd be surprised.
Yeah. So many different things.
I'm gonna go with best screenplay with Before Sunrise,
Yeah.
which we are doing next week on the podcast. So listen in if you want to hear more about what we think about it. But like the screenplay is insane. And like the dialogue that's written out for this movie is just also insane. Like, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it the next week.
Yeah. And then I think I'm also going to go a different route with cinematography. I'm going to go with the Batman from
God damn
2022.
it. I got to pivot on that category.
I had a feeling that you were going to pick this, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Well, I had that and Interstellar and cinematography.
Yeah, the Batman is shot absolutely beautiful. I think it could also go for like if we want to go in a wild card round, I think like the score also, the fact that the score got no love is
That's
insane
crazy
as well.
too, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just beautiful movie.
All right, let's see. Okay. I'll save that one for later. I'm gonna take Christopher Nolan snubbed for Best Director for Inception.
And he wasn't
That's
nominated
kind
that
of
year.
huh?
He wasn't nominated that year? That's insane.
That's from what I'm finding. Let's see. So 2011 Oscar Best Director nominees. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. Okay, so Woody Allen got nominated for Midnight in Paris. Alexander Payne, The Descendants. Are we joking? That movie was fine. Terrence Malick for The Tree of Life. Martin Scorsese for Hugo. And Michael, I'm not pronouncing your last name, for The Artist. Yeah, dude, he's got to be on here for this. That movie was crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
But maybe he was too young and they didn't want to give it to him. I'm staring at pictures of all these old guys.
So, yeah, it came out in 2010, so it'd be the 2011 Oscars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, yeah, I mean, that's the King's Speech year, so like, say what you want. The King's Speech.
Am I looking at the wrong year?
I think you are, but he still wasn't nominated for Best Director.
Okay.
So it still counts.
Okay. So, okay. The King's Speech, Black Swan, The Fighter, Social Network, True Grit. Okay, that's a bit harder.
Yeah, I think it's a bit harder, but I still would have it over the King's Speech because King's Speech is probably one of the most boring movies of all time. And honestly, True Grit. I like True Grit, and Inception's a lot better than both of those. The other three I agree with. Black Swan, The Fighter, and Social Network are really special movies.
Interesting place here. I'm gonna take Best Picture, and I'm gonna take The Dark Knight.
That's also on my list.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave that out there for too long.
Which is
Pretty
crazy because
amazing
you don't even
movie.
like this movie that much.
Yeah, but I understand what it is, and it should have at least been nominated.
Yeah.
I don't like this movie from a comic book standpoint. I don't mind this from a Christopher Nolan standpoint.
Man, we have 3 Christopher Nolans on the board.
Yeah, but we're about to get a hell of a lot more, which is kind of nuts.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to go a little bit different. Let me make sure though. Quick sec. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with, so yeah, I'm going to go with director, and it's going to be Steven Spielberg for Jaws.
Yeah, that's good.
It gets nominated for Best Picture, but he doesn't get nominated for director, which I think is kind of insane. And probably they're like, oh, he's too young. That's probably what they were thinking back then. But it's literally like the movie that started what blockbusters are in the first place. And it's an insane movie. Yeah. There's the only thing I could think of why it wasn't nominated was because they were like, oh, he's too young.
Yeah, I feel like that's done way too much.
Yeah.
Maybe not anymore. We saw Ryan Coogler win the other night, but it's still, he's
True.
39, 36.
Yeah. And Michael B. Jordan's like 39 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So then from here on out, going to be picking different ones, but for lead actress, I'm going to go with Toni Collette for Hereditary. Horror movies got some love at this most past Oscars for Weapons for Amy Madigan, but like this performance by Toni Collette is the best horror performance of all time. Like you can't even change my mind. It's just insane what she does in this movie, and she gets absolutely zero love. Let me look up what year. So, for the 2019 Oscars, which was a stacked year, I will say. Oh, wait, no, that's the Green Book year, not the stacked year. Still a Green Book hater over here. Nominees for Best Actress would be Olivia Colman for The Favorite, Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, Glenn Close, The Wife, Lady Gaga, A Star is Born, and Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? I mean, take out Lady Gaga, Melissa McCarthy, Glenn Close. Honestly, take almost all of them out except for Olivia Colman, and I'll be happy. And just put it between her and Toni Collette. Like, amazing horror performance. So
Is it my turn?
You got Best Screenplay left, Cinematography, and Wildcard.
All right, I'm about to cook here. Best screenplay, I'm going to take The Big Lebowski. And I'd like to say that if we had to go back in time, I think a lot of people would put this on there. Just for how different it is for the Coen brothers. And it's became such a cult classic, even though people didn't like it at first. There was 1999 was interesting. The Truman Show, Saving Private Ryan, Bulworth, Shakespeare in Love, and Life is Beautiful. You can keep Truman Show and Saving Private Ryan, put Big Lebowski in there.
Yeah.
Do I have the right year again?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. So yeah, that one is money. And then, yeah, I'm going to take 2001: A Space Odyssey for cinematography. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
What was that again? I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
No, it's okay. 2001: A Space Odyssey for best cinematography. Mind-bogglingly, it lost to Romeo and Juliet. Are you kidding me? It didn't even get nominated. We're talking about Romeo and Juliet. What the hell? I mean,
hey, I've actually seen that. It doesn't look horrible. It's probably not better than 2001: The Space Odyssey.
2001: A Space Odyssey looked better than Star Wars, and that's comes out 10 years later.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, this was going to be number 2 on my list. So if you chose the Batman, I was going to choose that one. So
Yeah.
it was right up there for me. All right, so my final 2 picks, lead actor. So like I have a crazy list for lead actor, so that's why I've been waiting, because honestly, I'd be happy with any of these guys. But I'm going to do it for the guy that, God forsakes, I hope he does a good movie for the next 5 years and gets it finally, because I think he's one of the outstanding actors. And it's going to be Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, we've done him on this podcast. We both are big fans of him. For the last 5 years, I don't think he's been doing the best movies, to be quite honest, especially Oscar-worthy type of movies.
Yeah.
But there was a crazy run from 2005 to 2018 where he was just having these insane performances and was not even close to recognized for them. I just think it's just a shame.
It is a shame.
Let me look up the 2015 Oscars to see who I would replace with him. I think it's the second movie I'm choosing for the 2015 Oscars. But they did not do it so well this year. Best Actor, Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything, Steve Carell, Foxcatcher, Bradley Cooper, American Sniper, Benedict Cumberbatch, Imitation Game, and Michael Keaton, Birdman. I'd take Bradley Cooper or Cumberbatch out for his performance in Nightcrawler. I think he's better than all of those performances, and I've seen all those movies.
I'd agree.
Yeah, Nightcrawler, he's insane. Okay, so 2 movies from 2014, which is interesting.
I'm about to add one more.
Then for wild card, I wanted to go to like a different category. I didn't want to choose one of the categories we already did.
Me too.
And so for me, I did, oh man, this is hard. Well, I'm going to do with one of the most iconic like scores of all time, and that's going to be Halloween.
Yeah.
1978. The score for it. I mean, it's just so iconic just for horror movies, but like just in general. Like, you know the score when you hear it. John Carpenter's really never gotten his love for it, which is kind of a shame too, for the movies that he, like The Thing as well, never got any love. But let's see what they nominated this year for a score back in 79.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Like Midnight Express.
You have one of the most iconic movies of all time, and you're throwing out, I guess it wasn't
Midnight
iconic.
Express, The Boys from Brazil, Days of Heaven, Heaven Could Wait, Superman. I could tell you I probably only heard the Superman score in my life, and Superman didn't even win that year. John Williams didn't even win. So, like, all right.
Playing games.
Yeah.
So for my wild card, I wanted to do the same thing. I didn't want to go down, some category we've already been doing. So it shocked me to find out that the Lego Movie didn't even get nominated for Best Animated Film in 2015. Obviously by directors Chris Miller, Phil Lord, who eventually did the animation for all the Spider-Verse movies, Project Hail Mary coming out next week, and then the 21 and 22 Jump Street as well, which is kind of a goofy mix of movies. Yeah. I really like the animation. I think it was so well done. We've seen Lego animation done, and then they kind of revolutionized it and made it a little more three-dimensional, which we all know and love Legos for, which was cool in my opinion. So for it to lose to Big Hero 6, Song of the Sea, The Box Trolls, How to Train Your Dragon 2, I can understand. And then The Tale of the Princess Cayuga. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what one. Hold on. Big Hero 6 one. Big Hero 6 looked cool. Not as cool as the Lego Movie. I'll take it over all 5 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked the Lego Movie. I remember seeing it when it came out because we were like 13 at this time. So kind of that age to see that kind of movie. Awesome.
Even then, like, it holds up really well today, too. It's really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll say our teams real quick, and then I have a bunch of honorable mentions I'll throw out there. But so for my team, Best Picture, Interstellar from 2014. Lead actor, Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler. Lead actress, Toni Collette in Hereditary. Best director, Steven Spielberg for Jaws. Best screenplay, Before Sunrise. Cinematography, The Batman, 2022, and wildcard Halloween original score.
Yeah, I had Best Picture, The Dark Knight from Christopher Nolan. Leading actor, I had Jack Nicholson from The Shining. And then leading actress, I had Amy Adams' Arrival. Best director, I had Christopher Nolan for Inception. Best screenplay, I had The Big Lebowski. Cinematography, I had 2001: A Space Odyssey. And wildcard, I had the Lego Movie in Best Animated Feature.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll start with my honorable mentions. First off, for Best Picture, I like some of these movies more than Interstellar, but for the year that Interstellar came out, Christopher Nolan was known for like 14 years at that time. It's just insane that he didn't get nominated for a Best Picture for that movie at all. But I had Heat from 1995. It just got no love from the Oscars at all, so that's why I ended up not picking it, even though everyone that listens to this podcast knows it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Ners also wasn't from Denny. Nope in 2022 was not nominated for Best Picture. Same with The Zodiac was not nominated in 2007 from David Fincher. Lead actor performances, I have Jeff Bridges for The Big Lebowski. I have Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat. Like, that is such a unique performance. The fact that it wasn't even recognized, I think, is also insane. Comedy doesn't really get noticed all that much, but like, it's Borat. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey for The Truman Show. Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems is just a crazy snub. Hugh Jackman in Prisoners, and then Zac Efron in The Iron Claw. I also had on honorable mentions. Lead actress, I had Uma Thurman for Kill Bill, either one, and then Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally. And then for directors, I'm just going to list 3 directors in general, with Denis Villeneuve for Prisoners, Sicario, and The Dunes, not nominated for Best Director. And then Linklater for Before Sunrise. And then PTA not for Boogie Nights. He finally won his Oscars.
Yep.
2 days ago, but like Boogie Nights is so special. Screenplay, Fight Club in 1999 didn't get nominated. The Dark Knight didn't get nominated for Best Screenplay. And then Zodiac as well. You could see some reiterating itself. Cinematography, some of these are like Parasite wasn't nominated for Best Cinematography, but won Best Picture. Midsommar wasn't nominated. Secret Life of Walter Mitty is one of the more beautiful movies I've ever seen. That effect that it wasn't recognized at all. Watchmen and 9, also really cool movie, the way it looks. And then some wild card ones being Challengers, the original score for that movie. I think the movie's all right, but the score is just really good. And Nope for sound editing, like the sound editing in Nope is really special. And as well as the Batman for score and Guardians of the Galaxy also for the score.
Yeah, you named a lot of them. The only ones I'd add were Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock. It never got nominated for anything. I mean, at the time, that movie was very graphic, so I think that had a lot to do with it. The Lion King for Best Picture, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Ridley Scott never won for Alien or Sting, or never got nominated.
Yeah. Jesse Plemons is going to be in the new movie Digger with Tom Cruise this year as a supporting actor. So I'm hoping that he's crazy in that movie. So
he shows up as a supporting actor, and then like you see it in the trailer, like you're like, oh, Plemons is in it, and then he's in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how every movie I see with him in it is. So I'm like, I was so excited to see that.
We'll see. I feel like he's going to be a bigger part of that movie, but like also I have no idea what that movie is about. So
yeah,
I just know that director Inarritu gets a lot of love from the Academy. So I'm hoping Cruise also gets some love, because that man deserves an Oscar at some point, because he's also like one of the actors of his generation. Awesome though. Oh, thanks for listening to this episode. See y'all next week.
See ya.